Once upon a time, a king organized a grand spiritual ritual in his palace. He invited a poor priest to perform the ceremony. During the ritual, the king posed 3 profound questions to the priest. How can God be seen? How far can God see? What does God do? The priest, overwhelmed by the complexity of the questions, asked for time to think. The king agreed but warned that if the priest failed to provide satisfactory answers, he would face severe punishment. The priest returned home, burdened by the king's demand. He spent days contemplating the questions but found no answers. As the deadline approached, his anxiety grew. He became restless, unable to eat or sleep, fearing the consequences of failure. The priest had a 6-year-old son, who was unusually wise for his age. Noticing his father's distress, the boy asked, "Father, what troubles you?" When the priest explained the king's questions, the boy reassured him, saying, "Do not worry. I will accompany you to the king's court and answer his questions." On the appointed day, the priest and his son arrived at the king's court. The king repeated his questions, demanding answers. The boy stepped forward confidently and said, "Your Majesty, I will answer your questions, but first, I must point out that you have not shown proper hospitality to your guests." Embarrassed, the king ordered refreshments for his guests. The boy was served a glass of milk. He dipped his finger into the milk and began examining it carefully. The king, puzzled, asked, "What are you doing?" The boy replied, "I am trying to find the butter in the milk." The king laughed and said, "Butter is not found this way. Milk must be churned to extract butter." The boy smiled and replied, "Exactly, Your Majesty. Just as butter requires a process to be revealed, so does God. To see him, one must follow discipline, devotion, and meditation." Next, the king asked, "How far can God see?" The boy requested a candle. He lit it and asked, "Your Majesty, how far does this light reach?" The king replied, "It spreads in all directions." The boy said, "Just like this light, God sees everything, everywhere. He observes all our actions." Finally, the king asked, "What does God do?" The boy responded with a question of his own. "Are you asking as a teacher or a student?" The king, humbled, replied, "As a student." The boy said, "Then why is the student on the throne while the teacher stands before him?" The king immediately stepped down from his throne and invited the boy to sit. He bowed and asked again, "What does God do?" The boy replied, "Your Majesty, you have already witnessed the answer. God can transform a king into a common man and a common man into a king in an instant. What just happened is an example of his power." The king was deeply humbled. He said, "Meeting someone as wise as you has opened my eyes. From this day forward, you shall be my royal advisor." The boy accepted the role, and the priest's life was saved. This story teaches us that God's presence is everywhere, and his power is infinite. He can change destinies in an instant, reminding us to remain humble and faithful. Life is ever-changing, and with humility, good deeds, and trust in God, we can achieve greatness. Faith in God provides strength during difficult times, while good karma and sincere efforts lay the foundation for success. By living with humility, gratitude, and belief in his wisdom, we open ourselves to blessings that can transform our lives in ways beyond imagination.